ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दं माधवम्। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So let me share my screen. Okay. So we are studying the verse number 42. So last time we discussed about Maya, I guess, yeah, Maya hi yasya jagadanda shatani sute, and how that Maya is actually Krishna's energy, and which is the subject matter of Maya is Traigunya Tad Vishaya and Veda Vitayamana. It is understood, or it is the subject matter of also Vedas. And Sattva-valambi Parasattvam Vishuddha Sattvam Govindam ādi-puruṣaṁ tamaham bhajāmi. But the absolute principle by which Krishna is the completely absolute. He is free, and his abode is also free from any tinge of three modes of material, three modes. Even the sattva in the material world is tinged with the other modes, so that's why it is kind of considered as contaminated. And then the Shuddha Sattva, we also learn from when Lord Shiva says that Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. So Vasudeva literally means pure goodness, which is not tinged with any modes of material nature. So now Brahmaji is explaining further, but Krishna and his rasa is completely different. It is fully spiritual. And even the devotees who are probably in the material world, but for them, the rasa they taste, because they are always thinking of Krishna, the happiness they derive or the thoughts they have are also completely pure. So let's study today's verse. So it says, ānanda-cinmaya-rasātmatayā manaḥsu yah prāṇināṁ pratifalan smaratām upetya līlāyitena bhuvanāni jayaty ajasram govindam ādi-puruṣaṁ ahaṁ bhajāmi. So here Brahmaji is saying, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose glory ever triumphantly dominates the mundane world by the activity of his own pastimes, being reflected in the mind of recollecting souls as the transcendental entity of ever-blissful cognitive rasa. And purport is small, so we'll read the purport also. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his purport, those who constantly recollect in accordance with spiritual instructions the name, figure, attributes, and pastimes of the form of Krishna appearing in the amorous rasa, whose loveliness vanquishes the god of mundane love, conqueror of the mundane hearts, are alone meditators of Krishna. So who are real meditators of Krishna? That is given here very beautifully, actually. We'll take into a little deep dive. And Krishna, who is full of pastimes, always manifests himself with his realm only in the pure receptive cognition of such persons. The pastimes of that manifested divine realm triumphantly dominates in every way all the majesty and beauty of the mundane world. So let's go back to the verse. So first, the rasa, which Krishna is always enjoying, and his devotees, his pure devotees, are enjoying that rasa which Krishna is enjoying. So that is spiritual. That is completely spiritual. It has not the slightest tinge of material, uh, material energy. So which is ananda. Anandam is full of bliss. That bliss that is completely experienced only in the spiritual realm. And the devotees, when they are always think of him, they also enjoy that spiritual bliss. And chinmaya, it is full of knowledge. It is cognitive. That's the word. It is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur uses in translation here. So the Krishna is fully cognizant. He is Janmadiyasya Anvayaditarotoscha Abhignya Swarad. So he's Abhignya, he is fully knowledgeable. Rather, he is the source of knowledge, and that's why only he can give instructions like Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. It is not any mundane knowledge. So he is fully cognitive, and that's why the rasa which he is eternally enjoying is, or eternally coming from him, is ānanda-cinmaya. It is full of bliss and full of knowledge. And it is always coming from him because he is atmataya. Because for him there is no source. He is the source of everything, and he and his name, his pastimes, his paraphernalia are non-different from each other. He is the original entity. I think here his atmataya, it is here due to being the entity. So he himself is that entity who is Krishna. So when we say Krishna, it's Krishna himself. Just like in the material world, when we call somebody, the name and the person are different from each other. But that is not the case for Krishna. And we always hear Prabhupada quotes many times this verse, Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta Abhinnatvat Nama Namina. So Krishna's name is Chintamani, which is like touchstone. Nama Chintamani Krishna, and which is the source of Chaitanya Rasa. So Chaitanya is full of energy. It is the source of all the energies. Rasa, and that rasa he is the form, vigraha of that Chaitanya rasa, all energetic or spiritual rasa. And it is purna shuddha. It is not tinged. Even his name, paraphernalia, everything, that what his Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur mentions here. The name, figure, attributes, pastimes, everything of Krishna is non-different from him. And it is pure, purna shuddha, nitya mukta, and it is free from all the contamination of these three modes of material nature or any tinge of matter. And abhinnatvat nama namina. Nama means name, and nami means one who is possessor of that name. And they are called abhinna. They are non-different. They are one and the same thing. And that's why because he is that person, Atmataya, he is full of that ānanda-cinmaya rasa. Now, that person, when he is reflected in the minds of the living entities even in this material world or anywhere. So manaḥsu, mana is mind, and ya prāṇināṁ pratifalam smaratām upetya. So that he who is reflected pratifalan in prāṇināṁ manaḥsu. Prāṇi means the living entities. So in which living entities he will reflect? Only his devotees. his pure devotees. That's Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, mad Macchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tukshanti cha ramanti cha. Krishna says in the 9th chapter, in the 2nd verse of Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, sorry, not in 9th, 10th chapter, 9th shloka, he says that my devotees, the thoughts of my devotees always dwell in me. They are always thinking of me. And bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam. They are always sharing stories or pastimes of me or my instructions among themselves, the devotees. And tushyanti, they enjoy that rasa. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. And they are ramanti, means they are fully absorbed in his thoughts and they are always sharing his. So that type of devotees, he is saying, manaḥsu prāṇināṁ pratifalam smaratām. Smaratām upetya. They are always thinking about him. There are no other thoughts other than Krishna and his pastimes or any of his activities or his instructions or his devotees' pastimes, the way he is relishing with different devotees, different types of pastimes. They are always thinking of him. Smaratām upetya. And that's why, and how they are thinking about this? Līlāyitena, by different pastimes, by different leelas. And Krishna has performed so many leelas. They may be his personal pastimes, they may be the pastimes in the form of his incarnations, they may be the pastimes in the form of his devotees' activities, or they may be some miraculous things happening all around the world, all around, everywhere. We saw that last time, that Brahman doesn't mean necessarily light and heat energy. It's everything what we can see around us is Brahman. So even a blooming flower is a miracle that is happening and we are seeing. But a person who knows that that flower that is blooming and giving fragrance to us is only because of Krishna's energy. It is the magic that he's knowing. So that also is Krishna's pastimes. And with these pastimes, and everything that we see glorious around us is Krishna's pastime, is his Leela. It is said that not a blade of grass can move without his permission. So, and when devotee starts appreciating that, and when he understands that, then he sees Krishna everywhere and he's always thinking of him. So līlāyitena, by that Leela or by that pastime, he is bhuvanāni jayaty ajasram. Bhuvanāni means all these, even the mundane worlds, material universe. Jayaty, he is dominating. He is triumphantly dominating all the material creation also by such different miraculous pastimes. And are those like only once or twice? No, ever, always. Nityam, satatam. These pastimes are always happening around us. We need just to have the eyes to see them. These magical things which Krishna is performing, they are always happening around us. And that's how he is triumphantly dominating this world. And the devotees can see this because they are always in their mind, manaḥsu, they are always reflecting on such thoughts. And that's why Krishna says in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita very beautifully that my devotees see me everywhere. They are always seeing me. And that's why I am never lost to them and they are never lost to me. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam cha mai pashyati. That one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me. Tasya ahaṁ na pranashyami, sa cha me na pranashyati. For him, I am never lost and he is never lost to me. So a devotee always keeps his connection with Krishna because he is always thinking of me, and that's how he is also then enjoying the rasa that is originating from Krishna, ānanda-cinmaya-rasātmatayā, that is spiritual rasa. And that's why for a devotee, many times we read in Bhagavad Gita that this material world is place of miseries. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Krishna calls this in multiple, couple of places. In 8th chapter, he says that this material creation is dukkhalayam, the place of miseries, as well as ashashvatam, or temporary. Or in the 9th chapter, he says that anityam asukham lokam. Anitya means temporary, and asukham means where there is no sukha. But for a devotee, it doesn't matter if he is in the material world, or he is in the spiritual world, or if he is in a heavenly planetary system, or even if he is in a hellish planetary system. It doesn't matter. Narayana parasarve na kutaścana bipeti. Swarga apavarga narkeshu api tulyartha darshana. Lord Shiva tells Mother Parvati that Narayana para, the devotees of Narayan are Narayana para sarva na kutaścana bibhite. They don't care where they are. Because for them, Swarga means heavenly planetary system. Apavarga means liberation. And Narak, which is hellish planet. Tulyartha darshana. For them, everything is same, because they are always thinking only about Krishna. They are always seeing the opportunities to serve him. They are always engaging all their senses in the service of Krishna. And in their mind, they are always thinking of him. Dhyanavastita tadgatena manasa pashyanti yam yogina. A real yogi is always thinking of him in his mind. And that's why they are also enjoying that bliss. As Prabodhananda Saraswati says in his one of the verses, Kaivalyam Narakayate, he says, for a devotee, Vishwam Purna Sukhayate, which is very opposite to what Lord Krishna says, Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam, but not for a devotee. For a devotee, Vishwam Purna Sukhayate, this whole Vishwa or whole universe is a place of happiness, because he's never unhappy. And we can see this from the examples of Prahlad Maharaj. He was being tormented by his own father, one who should protect him, one a mere 5-year-old boy. But for him, everything was happiness. He was never disturbed. Rather, Hiranyakashipu, who was trying to kill him, was disturbed that how can I not kill him? But he was never disturbed. For him, that his father himself tried to make his life miserable or hellish, tried to kill him by so many abominable ways. But for him, he was always happy, because he was always in thoughts of Narayana. He was always thinking of Krishna. So, Vishwam Purna Sukhayate for devotees. Because their only wealth is Krishna's thoughts and his service. So to that Govinda, Brahmaji is saying that Govindam ādi-puruṣaṁ, that because he is ādi-purusha, tam ahaṁ bhajāmi. So some thoughts on here. So I had some verses which I was thinking. So Brahmaji says that now here when we read this verse that prāṇināṁ, so one may think of all the living entities, including the animals can think of Krishna, yes, but only pure devotees actually can think of Krishna. Non-devotees cannot think of Krishna. And that's what Brahmaji in his prayers in the 14th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, he is addressing Krishna after the Brahma Vimohan Lila, and he says, non-devotees cannot realize you in your full personal feature, because they do not know you. They cannot understand that how can such a small boy can even be Supreme Personality of Godhead. They cannot even understand that a person can be Supreme Personality of Godhead. But nevertheless, it may be possible for them to realize your expansion as impersonal supreme by cultivating direct perception of the self within the heart. But they can understand your impersonal feature, Brahmaji is saying, and your Paramatma feature by cultivating the direct perception of self, when they understand that they themselves are the spiritual being within the heart, then they may understand or realize your expansion as impersonal supreme or Brahman. But they can do this only how? By purifying their mind and senses of all conceptions of material distinctions. So even Brahman realization or Paramatma can be understood by purifying mind and senses of the material conceptions. So even if we are free from material conception by the Vedic knowledge or by Jnana Yoga or even by the Ashtanga Yoga, but not yet Bhakti Yoga. So only in that pure mind one can understand his impersonal Brahman feature. And all attachment they are free of all attachment for material sense objects. So all these three conditions, they're purifying what? Mind, senses, and attachment from material senses, material sense objects. Only in this way your impersonal feature manifests itself to them. So forget about Krishna's personal feature as Bhagavan. Even for impersonal feature or Paramatma, one has to purify their mind and be detached from the material sense objects. So at this level, when they are free, they cannot enjoy that ānanda-cinmaya-rasā. So that is a very highest state. And that, again, when we talk about material nature, again, in the 11th canto, I was reading about the three modes of material nature. So that ātmatayā word, which Brahmaji says here, because Krishna himself is non-different. He is the original person. His name, paraphernalia, form, everything are non-different from him. And he is the source of everything. So all his incarnations come from him, but he is the person. He is the original person. And because he is original person, that's why he is the source of this ānanda-cinmaya-rasā. So that ātmatayā word in this verse, this is verse, these are the prayers by personified Vedas to Lord Shri Krishna. So Vedas offer very beautiful prayers to Lord Krishna, and this in Krishna book, this chapter is like 70-80 pages long, but very beautiful chapter. So in which this ātmatayā word it comes 3 times, and it is translated as he is non-different from self. So he himself is the soul and body and name and everything. And again, it is ātmatayā, couple of more times it comes. So here, in as much as they are non-different from it. So Krishna and his energy and everything, again, they are non-different. And again, non-different from himself. So that's what Krishna is. But because he himself is everything, his energy, so in that sense, his material energy is also in a way spiritual. It's only how we see it. Even when Krishna explains about his material energy in the 7th chapter, 14th verse, we just read a glimpse of it. Daivihi esha gunamayi mama maya durattaya. So when he's describing about his material energy, which is gunamayi maya, he starts with that energy as Daivi, divine. So even that material energy is divine because it is also coming from Krishna. And when a pure devotee understands that even the material energy is coming from Krishna and utilizes everything in the material world in Krishna's service, that also becomes spiritualized. Just like the best example I always think of in this case is Prabhupada mentions that the food we ate is, if it is not offered, it is material. It becomes sinful and we get reactions of it, karmic reactions of it. But that same food, when we prepare in the mood of offering it to Lord Sri Krishna, and we offer bhoga to Krishna, and then partake it, then honor it as prasadam, it becomes spiritualized. Food is same, but the attitude with which we offered it, and it becomes spiritualized when we offer it, and with that thought, that consciousness, that becomes spiritual. And that's why Krishna says that my devotees eat only the food that is offered to me as prasad. But a person who cooks for himself is eating only sin. So there is no difference. And that's why in the purport, let's read the translation first. The three modes of material nature comprise everything in this world, from the simplest phenomena of the complex human to the complex human body. So even the stone to human body, which is very complex, a machine, everything is made up of the three modes of material nature. Although these phenomena appear real, so we see our body functioning, we see everything around us.
Prabhuji, you are on mute.
Okay, sorry about that. I just had to give the message on the phone call. Okay. So, yeah. So, although these phenomena, whatever we see up around us, appear real, they are actually false reflection of the spiritual world. So, this whole material creation, everything we see, whatever I lift here or my phone, everything seems real, but this is actually material reflection of the spiritual world, and it is the superimposition on our mind. Still, those who know the Supreme Self consider the entire material creation to be real in as much as it is non-different from the self. So everything is also spiritual when one understands the Supreme Self and when one understands this as Krishna's energy, even though material. So it is real in that sense. Just as things made of gold are indeed not to be rejected, since their substance is actually gold, so this world is undoubtedly non-different from the Lord who created it and then entered within it. So because it is also created by Krishna, this world is real as well at the same time not real. So that's where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced that Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva philosophy. So this everything is spiritual, but because our way we see to it is contaminated, that's why it is unreal. And that's what the very first sentence of the purport, the devotees write that, in sense, the visible world is real or sat, while in another sense, it is not, it is asat. So it is how we perceive it and how we see it. And that's why a devotee, he sees everything in connection of Krishna. So for him, everything is spiritual. And that's why when he is thinking about Krishna, he can enjoy the rasa, that ānanda-cinmaya-rasa also. So I think it is already 9:30. I had a couple of things, but I think I'll stop here. And other thought I had was the beauty of Krishna, the loveliness of God, of Krishna is comparatively is compared to the loveliness or beauty of the mundane, god of love, or god of mundane love, or Kamadeva, or Kandarpa. So his beauty is hundreds and thousands and millions times compared to the beauty of Kandarpa, as we read earlier, Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya, Vishesha Shobham. So he is conqueror of all the mundane hearts. The material Kamadev is he conquers the hearts of the material people, or the people in this material world, but Krishna conquers even them. So that's why he's called Madana Mohan. So Madana is the Cupid, and Krishna is Madana Mohan because he attracts even the Cupid. He deludes even the Cupid. So that's one thought I wanted to share. So it's 9:31 already. So I'll stop here and we can take some reflections. Sorry for getting a little bit over. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Go
Yes,
ahead,
Prabhuji,
Mataji.
I have one question.
Yes, Mataji.
I'm very, very new.
Uh-huh.
And I really like the verse how you explained this one.
Mhm.
But how can I protect myself from contamination of material world? Like right now, I'm absorbed, I'm doing my thing. And then after work, then, I see, this browsing or whatever, these things, like, okay, this is my self time.
Mhm.
And then you get consumed into it.
Mhm.
I get consumed into it.
Yeah. So we read, or I talked about one of the verses of Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, right? And let me share that actually. I can bring that up. Devi hesha gunamai mama maya durattaya mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. So let me go to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7 and text 14. So he says that this divine energy of mind, so Maya, we are under control of Maya, consisting of three modes of material nature. So I don't know if you know three modes of material nature because you just said new. So I don't know how new you are, but this whole world, in this every living entity in this material creation, we are bound by three modes of material nature.
Sattvic, tamasic?
Yes, sattvic,
Okay.
tamasic, and rajasic.
Yeah, okay.
You're right there. And because they are considered as three rope, they are bound us. They are invisible ropes. They are bound. They are binding us. And because they have its own different natures, which is explained in the 14th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, they are dragging us in certain way, and we are kind of being controlled by them. So that's why this whole energy is made up of these three modes of material nature, and that's what Krishna is describing here. So this divine energy of mind, that material energy, Maya, consisting of these three modes, Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic, is very difficult to overcome. So as you rightly mentioned, we get dragged in something attracts us. Oh, I can do this, I can do this, and we get distracted very easily. But Krishna says, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Now it seems simple as well as difficult when we say surrender to Krishna. So Krishna clearly gives us the trick, how we can get out of this material energy. So just he says, surrender unto me. Now, when he says surrender, so there are different ways we can surrender unto him. Anukulasya sankalpa, pratikulasya varjanam. So doing everything that is favorable to Krishna, or associating with devotees. This group here, what we are doing is the same thing. One of the things we can do. Associate with devotees, hear about Krishna, or hear about the instructions given by Krishna, just like Bhagavad Gita, from pure devotees, and always try to think of him all the time, all day, as much as possible. In the beginning, it will be difficult, but he is in our heart as Paramatma. The more and more sincerely we are doing effort, he sees our sincerity and he guides us properly. So we can read about him, we can chant about him, his name, think about him. And chanting is one of the processes that is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is the first thing chanting does is Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Our heart, the mirror of our heart, Darpana, Cheto Darpana. Darpana means mirror, is kind of carrying the dust of different thoughts, different impurities from many lifetimes. But when we chant his name sincerely, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, this chanting purifies our heart. And the more and more we chant, the more clean our heart gets, the more Krishna starts reciprocating with us, and more clearer things we start seeing. Just like when we clean a mirror, we can see our reflections much clearer than a dusty mirror. In the same manner, this reflection of the world, what we see according to our heart, in our heart, mirror of the heart, that gets clearer and clearer, and we start seeing Krishna's hand in everything happening around us. So slowly but steadily, with these small things, I don't want to give too much, but these are small things we can do. So chant as much as possible when you get opportunity. Read, hear, and associate with devotees. So these are small things probably you can start with. Does that help, Mataji?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yes.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, yeah, I understood. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. But that's a very nice question. Yeah, and even though I'm saying this, I won't say that I'm doing that all the time, but we're just sincerely trying. And with Krishna's mercy, one day we'll, as he says, surrender unto me, we'll surrender him completely. Yeah. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Bhuvanāni.
Hare Krishna. I don't know. Yes, Jagannath Priya Mataji, you were saying something.
Yes, Prabhuji, very nice. You explained. And earlier I was reading actually a Krishna book. And it was I think 47th chapter from Krishna book, where Uddhava was taking message from the gopis, from Krishna to gopis, and how gopis were, how their love for Krishna was like constantly thinking of him. And that same exactly what you were explaining. So I could relate so well that their devotion to Lord Krishna is just uncomparable. There is nothing that anybody can compare to. So that is the standard that Krishna has, for us. He's expecting us to love him that intensely.
Yes.
But at the same time, he is very merciful, and he will forgive even if you do not chant his name properly or something, but your intention is there. So that was very nice to know that we still have some kind of hope. Even though we just try, or if we even desire for it, Krishna will fulfill our wish. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you for sharing that, Mataji. Actually, because of Prabhupada, because even though we think about devotion, our thought about devotion, our bar is so low. But
very low, yes.
Even a very high bar of gopis, imagine. So
yeah,
gopis' love for Krishna is at a very different level. And Prabhupada says that should be our goal. So thank you for bringing that. Yeah. Very nice. So I think we'll stop here then today.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Nice class, Prabhuji. Nice explanation.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you so much, devotees. So yeah, we'll conclude here. Stop. Thank you so much. Thank you for your association. Hare Krishna.
कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः आनंद कोटि वैष्णव वंदके जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. हरे कृष्णा.
Thank you, Prabhuji.